Hey, everybody. It's Sunday, and I've been trying to get in, so I apologize for my tardiness. I don't know what's going on with this Mercury retrograde. Plus, I have Uranus opposing my natal Mercury. Good morning, Taylor. Good morning, Natalia. Okay, so we are officially in Gemini season. But before I start, I'm just going to do good morning, sweetgrass. I'm just going to do a little bit of quick business. The first thing I want to say, good morning, Juan. The first thing I want to say is my name is Teri Hunter. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And every Sunday, we meet here to do angel readings for the week ahead based on the astrological aspects going on this week. And I go by whole sign Western astrology. So if you're doing this, you're going to want to use that house system. And I go by rising sign and the moon and then the sun. I use the rising sign because the rising sign is your perception, how you view the world. And each sign has its own individual characteristics when it comes to the perception. The moon, I think, is the most important aspect because, like life, it zips around the zodiac every day going on a roller coaster ride of experiences. So I think our emotional body really dictates our ability to manifest in the world. And the sun, I look at as the third thing because it's what we project out into the world and what we hope is our highest vibration of how people perceive us. So when you're doing the readings, I think it's super important to look at your moon and of course your rising sign, and then your sun. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, we have one wilted flower. Our little small wildflowers is feeling under the weather, so she will not be here today. So if you guys will all send her some love, and this is very highly unusual for her to, I don't think she's ever called in sick in 3.5 years. So I'm pretty sure she must be feeling pretty crummy. So let's send her some good vibes. And yeah, thank you, Natalia. I've been into, they used to have this television show called Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. It only lasted for 2 seasons. It was one of those song and dance shows and died during COVID. But the girl always sort of wore these vintage outfits. And I saw a couple of tops recently and got inspired. So, and my progressed moon has moved into Venus, has moved into Leo. So, all right, so let's talk about some of the aspects before we go into our readings. Good morning, Taylor. Good morning. I said Sweetgrass. Good morning, Juan. Dusk. Good to see you. Officially, good morning, Natalia. Just call me C. Posted up. Good to see you. All right. So the sun has officially moved into Gemini. And this week or today, what we're experiencing is a T-square between the nodes. The nodes have been hanging out at 22 degrees for quite some time. I'm not quite sure why they're taking so long to move off that aspect. I've been looking at some other things this week. Okay. Let me stop for a second. I distracted myself because as I was looking at the T-square to Saturn in Aquarius, I was distracted by my own life and the series of crazy interruptions trying to get things done this week. And I have felt very much having to surrender to the aspects and the dynamics in life that I have no control over. There's construction going on around me. Cox had an internet outage. Oh my gosh, there were like 5 different things that happened this week that literally stopped me in my tracks. And I was very frustrated because I had a momentum going. I say this because the T-square between the nodes, they're at 22 degrees and Saturn is at 25 degrees Aquarius. So I want to say that this led me, gosh, I'm so choppy today, to start to look at the laws of the universal laws. Everybody talks about the law of attraction. That's a big one, but it is one of 12 different universal laws. So I decided, okay, I'm going to leave frustration on the side of the road and I'm just going to move forward in my research, in my planning, in my looking at what do I think is interesting and what do I want to start to utilize as tools within my spiritual body and my spiritual path. And then as I was looking at the aspects, I see that Jupiter has moved into Aries nicely. And this week it's going to be making, I'm going to jump a little bit ahead because it's right on my south node. On the 28th this week, which we're going into Memorial Day weekend, from I believe Wednesday is the 28th. So from the Wednesday to Wednesday, we're going to have Mars conjunct Jupiter. This is very interesting to me because Mars can rule inspiration and action and moving forward, courage and bravery. And then, of course, Jupiter rules expansion and wealth and philosophical things, moving in new directions. So this is possible. It's sitting right on my south node. So I'm hoping this is going to give me a sense of habitual inspiration. But I want to offer it this way because this also can increase your sex drive, can make you feel very amorous and physically attractive and seeing people as physically attractive. And it can also spark a sense of, on its more challenging vibration, where people are willing to fight for their beliefs. And they're getting a little tired of being pushed around and being told about one thing after another to be fearful of. So I think this is super important. And on the very same day, the 28th, it could be the 29th if you're on the other side, the other hemisphere. I'm in the Pacific time zone. We have Venus entering its domicile of Taurus. So I want to offer that. Oh, and another thing that's happening that day is the moon will be conjunct the north node in Taurus. So I want to offer it this way. I feel like this coming Memorial Day weekend, those of us that are conscious or doing our best to live a conscious life need to pick our battles. I feel like it's super important. Yesterday, this happened to me a few times this week, and I got to tell you, I wanted to yell at the construction guys because I'd be in the middle of shooting a video. I would think they weren't coming at all because it would be like 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I'd get 3/4 of the way through the video and a jackhammer would go off. And I had to just throw the whole thing away. And as I was walking down there yesterday morning on Saturday when I thought they wouldn't be there and the music was blaring really loud, the first thing I thought as I was marching down with my was, how will I receive my own communication? If I was down there, how would I receive some woman walking up to me and just blasting me with her anger? So I decided not to do that. I decided, and I took a breath as I walked in and I was like, good morning. Hi, how are you? And this is when I had this moment of realizing my Pluto, transiting Pluto at 28 degrees Capricorn, is squaring my 27-degree Mars in Libra. Now, what do I want to do? Do I want to think I'm going to die? I'm going to die. No, I'm going to learn how to use my sword. I'm going to learn and really start to be conscious of how I am perceived when I am expressing myself, especially when things aren't so great. So I think that's super important. And with a Memorial Day weekend coming, there could be a heightened sense of frustration with everybody who's been, I still think people feel bottled up. I still think they're feeling a little bit like, I'm not so sure I'm enjoying this life experience. And there's a lot of, I feel like the 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0 versions of everything from our health to outside influences within the world, politics, etc. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there was a mass shooting last Sunday in Laguna Niguel, which isn't far from me. Some very angry man didn't like the Taiwanese, so he drove all the way from Las Vegas to shoot up a church. This is the cray-cray that's going on right now. So as a conscious tribe, no matter what is going on the outside world, we get to represent a certain vibration. And I want us to be conscious of that. on Tuesday, today's the 22nd. On Tuesday, the 24th, the moon will be conjunct Jupiter. And so this is going to be there's going to be a lot of expanded feelings, and this is again in Aries, this feeling of, I want to offer it this way because a lot of people may think that they're right. And I think it's really important to remember that right is kind of like truth, it's in some ways subjective. We also have Mercury making an exact trine to Pluto. So Gemini, Mercury is retrograde in Gemini at 28 degrees. Pluto is at 28 degrees Capricorn. And I want to offer it this way because this is really, master number of thought. The 28 reduces down to a 10. The 10 offers me a new beginning, and the 1 is about my thought. And Mars will enter Aries at 0 degrees. So while it's not an exact conjunction, it's starting to be a tight conjunction. So this last few weeks, as we go into the new moon in Gemini at the end of the month, be very mindful of how you're expressing yourself, and if indeed you want to be heard, or do you just want to vent? When I was walking down to these guys, I don't know if it's the same construction workers. I don't know if they're electricians or plumbers. And I could make all these assumptions based on my experience of being here every day. But I started to think that there was more to the story. And maybe the guy that was here 2 days ago playing his music wasn't the same guy. So for me to have this buildup of frustration and unleash, would it be a productive thing? It would be the right thing, I guess. In my viewpoint, it would be my truth. But would it be serving me? And would it actually transform my Pluto-Mars square? Because we have to sort of look at these transits and not just look at how they affect things in a sort of in a vacuum, but rather I always hear the pinball wizard. Every time a transiting planet hits my natal Venus, my natal Pluto, my natal moon, or Saturn, it hits 2 trines. So it creates this ripple effect. So as we are aware of the ripple effect, we can then better manage how we surf that ripple effect. So Lucky's crawled out of his bed. Yeah, I thought I would make it so you guys could see him. He's had another little outbreak. I think that they're putting fertilizer on where we walk. And every time we walk on that fertilizer, I think we have an issue. So anyway, his attitude is good. He's happy. He's not really itching. So I guess the treatments I'm doing are working. All right, so we're going to do our readings now. And yeah, I'm going to say this. If you want to all give me a thumbs up, I'll take it. I'm going to start with Pisces, work my way towards Aries. We're going to do a tarot card, and then we're going to do our 4-card spread with the Angel deck and with the Camelot deck and marry them together so we can get some focus. Because I want to offer this. We're almost halfway through 2022, and I believe that while those that have personal planets in Aries will benefit greatly from Jupiter's traversing this sign, I also think that if you have, let's say wherever your Mars is in your chart, there's the potential, because Aries is ruled by Mars, that even if you don't have a direct aspect, you could take advantage of this expansion energy by utilizing your intention and your focus. Okay, so let's start with Pisces, and we'll work our way towards Aries. Our first tarot card is the 8 of Pentacles. This is a really interesting energy for me because this is where the apprentice, or I should say this craftsman, has already established a certain amount of material success. And now he's going in and he's putting the fine detail. And as you can see, there's really only one that appears to be completed to his satisfaction. So I want to offer this for my Pisces. As you're going through and it may even be a bit of a shift of having your natural ruler hanging out with your modern ruler. Now that's Neptune and Jupiter. And as Jupiter has left your sign, you may feel a little bit like, oh, there's a something missing. And I want to offer it this way. I think this is an opportunity to go back over what you've started to create and look at the detail. And I want to offer it this way because as we go through this 2022 year, I think there's something about coming together in a commingling with not just ourselves and other people, but ourselves and our dreams, where we want to be as we move forward closer and closer into the age of Aquarius, and more technology offers us individuality, new ways to make money. I am monetized on YouTube now, guys. So when you watch the videos, it's good now. So I'm very excited to announce that. So for Pisces, look at what you're building right now. Go back a little bit and fine tune some of those things. If you've thrown anything away, oh, I'll worry about that later. Whether it's an obstacle or an opportunity, I think whether it's how can I phrase this? I want to offer it this way. For myself personally, I feel like I have astrology is starting to be dominant on my channel, but there are so many other tools that I love. And just this last week, rather than focusing on my frustration, I went back to the 12 universal laws and I read some notes I'd taken. I researched them. I thought, oh, wow, I've been applying some of these without even realizing consciously that I was doing it. And then I was inspired and we'll be doing a video on them this afternoon when the construction guys aren't here. Yay! So Pisces, let's do that. Let's look a little bit deeper. Let's take this story of what you're amassing down the road a little bit and then fine tune some of the elements in the way. Will I enjoy this? Will I really like this? Or am I doing this because I think other people will like it? This is the other thing I want to say. I believe that the audience or viewers or whoever your demographic is for what you're creating is going to respond more to your authenticity than your product. I kind of think of it when I worked in Hollywood, there was this, it was a big saying, every story has been told. So it's not trying to invent the new story. Oh, thank you, Nathan. You're my very first ever on my channel. I'm so excited. I'm not about the money, just so you did it. But anyway, but the money's good too. Anyway, all right, let me back up. Because when I was in Hollywood, they would say that every story has already been written. All stories have been told. So it's not about telling the most unique story. It's about how you tell that story and how people respond to it. So as we start to give life to the idea that our authenticity is what people are gravitating towards versus trying to homogenize ourselves into something we think is palatable for others, which is the days of old. So let's get some detail on what the detail is that Pisces is looking at. What are we looking at in our material world that we want to give more? The word detail is not big enough for me right now. It's almost as if I want to. It's like when a craftsman and goes in and adds those touches that makes things unique. I'm really into the word craftsman lately. All right, our first angel is Francesca. The second is Archangel Uriel. The third is Serena. And the final is Indriel. All righty. Welcome, Sacred Owl. Good to see you. Okay, here we go. Whoop. Francesca is being joined by the spider. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the restriction card. Serena is being joined by the owl. And Indriel is being joined by the water fairy. You know, I got to tell you something. Something's happening for Pisces that I think is not, the baton is not in your hand. You know, the more, oh, thank you, Aliban. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, you guys, I'm going to cry. Okay, this is what I want to say for Pisces, because we have the spider, which represents creative projects. This, for me, feels like you're building something. And now, Pisces, as you look at the detail, I want to offer it this way, because you may be being a little bit overcritical, or you may be ready to move forward as Jupiter moves into Pisces. I think all of us feel this sense of expansion and this sense of inspiration. But if you can't move forward, like I have not been able to move forward, I was so busy, gas. And I felt like I was like, all right, I'm getting so much done. And then stop. And every time I tried to start something, I was like, okay, I'm going to beat the clock. I knew and I didn't know at the same time that my frustration was not actually working for me, that it's okay sometimes not to go 100 miles an hour, because there is frustration for Pisces and because of restriction. But I think something's happening. And this is where I was so excited to read about the 12 universal laws, because one of them, which I talk about, but I forgot about, is inspired action. And that is something that Spirit has helped me with. When I'm frustrated, I go into my meditation. And when I go into my meditation, the noise is all blah, 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 blah. So I start to chant. Sometimes I'll chant, thank you for letting me feel my happiness. Sometimes I'll do Buddhist chants, anything to try to direct my mind and focus my mind, because I like to move forward. I'm an Aries rising. But what Spirit is saying is something is coming to you. And now you're getting an opportunity to see that inaction sometimes is actually action, because we are waiting for the baton pass from Spirit. Now we have inspired action, and we have Pisces trusting their emotional body. Now, this is part of this inspired action is, the first few times that we sit around like, oh my God, I want to do something and I keep getting stopped. Why do I keep getting stopped? You're getting stopped because something's out of alignment. And you may think that it's aligned, but it isn't. And I kind of want to refer back to what I was telling you guys last week about being stopped doing a video. And finally, I'm like, okay, I'm not supposed to do this video because it's not what I think it's going to be. So as you're feeling semi-frustrated right now, if there's a stop, Mercury's retrograde. Oh my God. Uranus is retrograde, right? Isn't it Uranus? It's retro. No. Who else? Hold on. I'm thinking, I can't remember. I think Pluto went retrograde. That's who I'm thinking about. Hold on a second. I just have to look at it really quick. Yes. So Pluto, okay, in Capricorn. I don't know why that suddenly I didn't trust myself there, because I want to say it this way. This revisiting in retrograde is not about pulling the rug out from underneath you, but having you be more Plutonian when you take your action, meaning you're not going around putting bombs in things, but you're trusting a deeper inner knowing, which is AKA inspired action. So, and I want to offer it this way, because if for some reason you are frustrated with your own inability to feel inspired within your own creative work, go do something else. Go play, go watch football and have a beer, go do the crossword puzzle, clean your toilet. I don't really care. Because sometimes when you step away, that is when Spirit can sneak right in, give you that inspired idea, and you're like, oh, there it is. And then you start to get the roller coaster. And the roller coaster doesn't feel so, wah. It feels more like, woo. Okay. On to our Aquariuses. Thank you guys. I'm like sort of into this sort of vintage weird. It's really not me to be girly. I have Venus in Virgo. Hello. But I don't know. Kind of liked it. I was inspired that day. It's kind of funny. Whenever I pay off a credit card, it always feels like I have money, which is not true, but it feels like it. All right, Aquarius, what is our tarot card for this week? The Queen of Pentacles. Oh my goodness, this is fabulous. Lada is an Aquarius rising, and I hope that she's building her channel back and feeling her mojo back. I couldn't help but just think of her when I saw that. But I want to offer this too, because again, I'm getting this very strong sense for Aquarius that there is an opportunity to be very fertile, and make sure you're being fertile in a lane that you enjoy. When I look down at this woman, she seems to be, she's not looking up. She's looking at her pentacle. She's looking at what she has amassed. And I feel as if when we look carefully, we can see the goat, right? So we know the goat is Capricorn. We see the little child hidden underneath. And I feel as if it's super important to play to that child. Don't be too goat-like again. Don't work too hard. And I want to offer it this way because I'm not asking you not to make money. I'm thinking about the idea that working hard is counterintuitive to really producing abundance. Abundance is a receptive energy. So as we take an inspired action and then we have inspired rest, Mercury retrograde, then we have another inspired idea. And this ebb and flow thing gives everything more meaning, because rest without true relaxation, when you're holding your breath, pretending you're resting, the universe knows you're just pretending. So it's really fear disguised. So let's look and see where all this money, because this could be money, could be coming in too. You know, I really, Lucy Rose, have given up on the idea that my mind is ever going to be quiet, because I've been meditating for decades now, and I meditate supposedly multiple times a day. And I think I can count on one hand how many times I've really like gone somewhere magical and felt like some of the things I hear out of other people. I get fidgety. Exactly. So you know what I do? I don't even fight the fidgety. I go like this. I rock. And I have done it since I came out of the womb. I used to rock in my crib. My mother would come in going, "What's that banging noise?" So I don't know, maybe it's Aries rising. Maybe I was in an order of monks in a past life and we rocked while we were chanting. I don't know, but I cannot. Even when I'm in group meditations, I'll tell people, if you sit next to me, I hope I don't bug you, because I'll start rocking. I can't help it. Okay, Aquarius. Our first angel is Aurora. The second is Archangel Michael. The third is Oceana. And the final is Rochelle. You know, this is so funny because when I was after everything happened and Lotta's channel crashed and she's rebuilding her channel, I kept telling her, you know, she's got a Leo moon. And I'm like, this is about following your heart. Somehow your work was driving you. You weren't driving your work. And if we look at this Queen of Pentacles, it might be that she's looking too much at what she has to get done in order to make sure that she's getting everything done materially. Hi, Faith. Welcome. So let's see. Aurora says you're flying high right now. Don't descend, even if it threatens others, because they will soon be inspired by your example. And then we have the focus card. Archangel Michael is being joined by Merlin, bringing in balance and justice and money. Oceana is being followed by the Queen, which is a receptive energy. And Rochelle is being joined by the Stag. Okay, Aquarius. You know, by nature, I think Aquarius is a leader, because what does people do when they're revolting against the man? They're saying, no, this structure is out of balance and I'm not doing it anymore. And that's exactly what Aquarius rules. But there's also this idea that during this time, I really feel like, and I don't know why I'm being pulled so strongly to this, but each one of us is sitting in this moment to really look at this halfway through this year, 2022, and say, am I aligned to what truly is going to bring me joy, not just in this moment, but in the subsequent moments that come as I amass whatever this is, meaning I amass an audience, I amass an amount of money, which then makes me buy a lot of toys. And now I've got to stay on this road, because I think for the Queen of Pentacles, what we're seeing for Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums is that your focus starts to bring in abundance. And this may come in other ways that isn't just money. I really think abundance may be time. People by nature do not look at time as a commodity, and it's a huge commodity, because Archangel Michael is asking you to not only, Archangel Michael is always about protection, but in this case, he's about courage, and courage to do what is magical for you, what brings you alchemy, justice, and balance, what makes you feel aligned to the truth of who you are, because part of this not trying so hard will actually bring in more abundance. I don't know what made me do this. I have no idea. Again, I'm kind of a weirdo. I take inspired action in ways that I don't even know. I don't even know why I trust it. But one day, 8.5 years ago, I felt like I was this movie premiere beam. And when during my meditation, while my mind is all noisy, I was like, okay, I'm going to picture Hollywood Boulevard, and I'm this movie premiere beam, and I'm going to see all these people just coming down the boulevard, coming towards me. And this became a very powerful tool, because I'd get out of that meditation and all of a sudden people would call and start booking appointments, and opportunities started to happen. And I started to see a rhythm that as I put up that movie premiere beam, there was a lot of things I was associating with that people thought something exciting was happening, and that there were stars. There's always stars at movie premieres. So, because what I'm saying for Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, as you follow your heart, you also become a leader for others, hence the inspiration. And the inspiration is that I didn't focus on what would amass money or what it would amass something that wasn't authentic to my heart. Because if you're really, there are some people that actually have a super fun time amassing money. That gets them going. That's creative to me. That's a creative way of looking at money versus a need. So I think that this is super important for Aquarius to continue to sort of dig deeper, and don't get too scientific. Don't think too much about humanity right now, because ultimately, as you follow your own heart, you will represent for others. Okay, let's go on to our Capricorns, our goats. Our little goats. I actually saw some little lambs the other day jumping around like goats on one of my crazy shows I was watching. Oh my goodness, Faith, that's so crazy. Isn't that wild? I really noticed so many things now astrologically. The day of the solar eclipse was April 30th. I had no idea that the woman beneath me was going to be evicted. She'd lived there longer than I've lived here, and I've lived here almost 20 years. And so literally the eclipse happens in Taurus. She's blown out and the construction starts. And what is it? It's 2 weeks before a Scorpio eclipse, and this is all beneath me. It's all under me. So weird. Astrology is so weird. Okay, Capricorn. Oh, this is awesome. The cup of love is being offered from you. The cup of peace is being offered by Spirit. This is awesome. Let's look and see in what area of your life. Because, those baby goats, they feel a lot of love as they're dancing around the farm. Oops. Okay, I'll tell you another confession of my weirdness. Okay, I watched so many episodes of the Bigfoot expedition yesterday. Over the last couple of days, I just put it on and watch these people as they're searching up through the Pacific Northwest and inside the Appalachian Mountains, and I'm fascinated by all of these things that we can watch now. Yep, 145 Club, do it your way. Because you know what? It's going to start being, I really believe that humans are going to start to be less critical of the your way and start being like, if you can do it your way, then I can do it my way. I love Magnolia Network. I love Chip and Joanna Gaines. I don't know them personally, but whatever they produce, I really enjoy. And some of these shows, I don't particularly align to the taste of these designers. There's one couple that's really Victorian, and their home is kind of really looks like a museum to me. But I love watching it. I love watching how people get so excited about what they're creating. And I feel so much like this is a wave of permission not to have too much criticism pull us under. Oh gosh, that's right. That's right, CJD. So many weird, honestly, since Pluto started getting to the later degrees and making oppositions to my home. Things have been constructing and going crazy since 2018, literally. And I think that's when Uranus moved into Taurus, didn't it? Okay, let's do our reading for Capricorn. Our first angel is Isabella. Yes, the timing is right for happiness. Rochelle is about following your heart. Grace and Antoinette is about having compassion for yourself while you do so. And then we have Archangel Gabriel. Okay, let's look. Hey, Giselle, good to see you. Welcome. I'm excited. Yay. Me too. Faith, I'm so into it. And I love watching building furniture and craftsmen. And there's this show called The Craftsman with this guy, Eric, up in Eureka. And I love watching him, in that old dusty, I just go crazy. Okay. Isabella, Capricorn, is being joined by the Focus card. Rochelle's being joined by the Butterfly. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Partnership card. And Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the Joy card. I want to offer this because I could easily say that love is being offered, but I want to offer it this way for my Capricorn, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. With the cup of love being offered, I want to kind of put you guys on task and say, can you be aware of the love around you so that you can invite in more love, and rather than looking at where can I be of service in some way, or where can I be of duty in some way? Because yes, the timing is right for this new venture as you're aware of your focus. I think I'm so evolved, right? And I think I'm so aware of things. And every once in a while, I catch myself in a focus that's more problem oriented than it is solution oriented. So I get frustrated with myself, but I want to offer it this way because I think this is, again, an unraveling of a human habit. So Capricorn, it's time for you to pay attention to your focus. And if you're talking about your challenges, your problems, your obstacles, the weight on your shoulders, it's going to be a little bit more challenging for you to get where you want to go, because this is the transformation. Right now, that butterfly you got to remember the butterfly, we look at these totems of transformation and of beauty, and we kind of forget about the journey of anxiety and anguish and hurt and trauma that wisdom gives us, that the transformation of the butterfly goes through. So right now, as Capricorn, as Pluto is transiting, especially those late born Capricorns, Capricorn sun, moon, and rising, surrendering to your heart. And you may not even know what that is. You may be like, I don't even know what my heart wants. I've been so busy taking care of other people, or so busy doing what I'm supposed to do. Don't get mad at yourself. Just relax. It'll come to you, because this whole time, the first point of entry is to have compassion for yourself and go into partnership with yourself. I don't want to make this about somebody else. I think sometimes Capricorn might be too much about somebody else. And I want to offer it this way, because Capricorn can feel on the outside and look like they're not about anybody else, but it's kind of a weird mixture, because they feel a strong sense of being leader for other people. And that leader is not always, we can't judge whether the leader's good or bad. It's just this sense of, it's my job. And now I think it's about starting to be more, your job is to be joyful. And I want to offer it this way. Talk about things that are fun. Talk about things you want to do. Imagine the future. Allow yourself to think, you know what? We've been looking at problems. We've been watching the news. We've been putting money in that bank account, making sure that we don't have anything that hits us from behind. But you know what? What if it doesn't have to be that way? What if now isn't about doing any more work, but actually assimilating the work, absorbing it in a way that's like saying, wow, I did good there. And I was conscious of how I showed up there. And I actually let myself go have fun instead of cleaning the toilet. I really think that this is focusing in on your own enjoyment, your own love. Look we just moved into Gemini. Okay. Gemini is a fun sign. It's a social sign, likes to buzz around the neighborhood, see what everybody's up to, what you doing. Hey, boo, let's go have a drink together. Go have some fun, Capricorn. Go have some fun. And I want to offer it this way because as we come towards, I don't think the new moon is until like next week. I think it's the 29th or the 30th. I can't quite remember. But I want to offer it this way because as we are ramping up towards those moments, then I think that it's important for you to not judge. This is the first point of entry, is to be able to look and say, can I observe something that was out of balance? And rather than judge it and get mad at myself, can I just kind of move past it and go, oh, well, now I noticed it. This is part of where wisdom comes in. Okay. I honestly, Faith, I really believe people have trouble having fun. I think that not just people, I mean, youth doesn't have trouble having fun. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't want to get into I'm sure some people have fun, but I'm kind of talking about how can I phrase this better? I feel like for all of us, but specifically for Capricorn, there's a way of having fun even when you're not doing things that are fun. Like oftentimes when I'm cleaning, I'll put on music and I'll dance around. I'll dance while I'm doing the dishes. I'll clean like this. And or I'll sing out loud. Do I hear my neighbor upstairs probably rolling his eyes? Oh God, there she goes singing again. She sounds like a cow, but I don't care. I don't care. I feel like this is super important right now to align ourselves. And maybe that's a little something that, thank you. I love my little altar too. I think that there's just something about giving validity to a lighter side to things, and seeing how that actually changes the vibration. Okay. All right, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Mullein is one of the mullein, the herb, the medical medium recommends that for lots of stuff. I have that in my fridge. Okay, Sagittarius, let's see. Okay. For our Sagittariuses, we have the 9 of Wands. Now, this is not necessarily the most fun card, not the worst card ever, but I want to offer it this way because you are representative of the 9th house. And I believe that this guy is defending himself and it's not necessary anymore. He's a little bit overly cautious. And I feel as if while he has been wounded, this is a time to allow himself to pay attention to the growth that these wands offer. The wands are always fire signs, right? And the 9 naturally represents the Sagittarian energy. And I feel as if, oftentimes as humans, we're like, I don't want to have any more problems. I don't want to have any more challenges. And I'm with you. I've had a lot of, interruptions, as I've started calling them. In fact, the word vibration of the week for the last 3 weeks that I haven't done it has been problems. And every time I try to go do it, something happens and there's a problem. And I start laughing because problems are 2 things. They're annoying, but they are also the very seedlings, the impetus, the opportunity to see our own growth. So when we are looking at our lives from a spiritual point of view and we're doing the work, maybe now is a time to observe the work we've already done so that we can stop defending ourselves. I think obstacles and opportunities, I used to say this when I first started doing my work, if we look, it has 2 O's in it. One's an opportunity and one's an obstacle, same coin, 2 sides. And if indeed we are to see the manifestation of our own evolution, we must walk through a similar dynamic that was a problem for us before. And now we see the evolved version of ourselves, which then empowers us, which then starts a new momentum. So it all makes sense. I can't wait to do that video because, the video I was talking about with the 12 universal laws, because I had forgotten so many of them. And I started to think about the idea of the number 12 reduces down to a 3, which is the Trinity. It's a holy number. 12 There's 12 zodiac signs. There were 12 disciples. There's 12 months in a year. There's synergy going on all over the place here. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start to be mindful of looking for that. And that's what I think Pluto is asking. I think Pluto is asking me to look deeper and deeper before I take action. And that's going to rewrite the structure of my life. Okay, here we go. Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Welcome, Natasha. Did I say hi? Hope I said hi to everybody. All right, here we go. Sagittarius. Our first angel is Archangel Michael. The second is Vanessa. The third is Astera. And the final is Bethany. All right, I just, as I'm pulling these cards, I want to say this. We know that your ruling planet, Sagittarius, Jupiter, is going to be conjunct Mars at 3 degrees. That's the Gemini degree. And when I say the Gemini degree, I infer that it has a Gemini undertone to it. So it'll have something to do with thinking, teaching, writing, speaking. And I feel like, here we go. Mars is my warrior. Jupiter is my beliefs. At this Gemini degree, Sagittarius, there may be something about you no longer defending to such a great extent your beliefs, but rather living in them. Congratulations, Katerina. That's so exciting. New beginnings. Oh my goodness. Yay. Big round of applause for Katerina. All right, Sagittarius, let's see. Archangel Michael is asking you to have courage in this new beginning. Vanessa is saying to have faith as you garnish the wisdom that some of our challenges bring us. Astera is just saying reach for the stars and don't compromise with what you love. Bethany is telling you that you are transforming in a very beautiful way. Because I want to offer it this way. If we're looking at this Sagittarian energy, which is what the 8, 9, and 10 of the wand suit represents, the mutable fire, then we ask, Archangel Michael is asking us to have courage to have this new beginning. And every new beginning is really not, I want to offer it this way. It's never really a clean slate. There's always a new, even when we are first born in this lifetime, I believe we have a point of attraction. The soul has a point of attraction. We pick the parents we pick because they offer us a landscape to realize our own power. So as we have this new beginning, and the courage, I think, comes from stopping defending yourself about whatever it is. And if indeed you're not defending the new beginning, then whatever you feel defensive about, it might be about putting that to rest. Because Vanessa says, are you going to base your decisions on faith or fear? And the owl is giving you an opportunity to decipher that, within every opportunity, there is an obstacle, but within every obstacle, there is an opportunity. So Spirit is saying, connect with us, keep reaching for the stars, and concentrate on what you love. This is what I want to say. God doesn't pick some people to be sad and other people to be happy. God doesn't pick some people to be affluent and others to be not, or to be abundant and to be poor. We are co-creators for reasons. And we're not always co-creators because we're a victim of the situation. Sometimes we're a co-creator because we're actually of a higher vibration and we've chosen a more challenging. I think of the impoverished person, or the song, What If God Was One of Us, right? Basically inferring that what if that bum on the street is really Jesus and you don't know it and you treat him like a jerk. So I feel like this is about Sagittarius digging deeper, no longer defending themselves. You're entitled to this new beginning, whatever it is. And it may be something based only on the things that you want. It may not be based on an actual material situation. So it's okay to take care of this. It's okay to see that some of your challenges have brought you wisdom, that have given you the courage to actually start to reach for the stars, to say that what I love is important, because this is about you. Bethany is all about you. And there's the blossoming. And I want to offer it this way, because Sagittarius is a natural teacher. and a teacher of philosophy, a teacher of concept, a teacher of things that, are not skill related with the hands, but rather with the mind and with the heart. So as you are brave enough to embark on this new beginning and say, you know what, I'm not going to defend this old position. It is what it is. And when I look at this, I could say, personally, there are people in my life that may think that I'm a hostile woman. I have been known to turn around and tell someone to, do this. But I don't do it anymore like I used to. When I was younger, I was much more of a hothead. I was much more like, I'm going to exterminate you and you'll never come back again. And then people get back over and over again. And I had to learn that my extermination wasn't happening. So I had to learn how to use my fire to create warmth and not burn. And whenever I'm pissed off and I don't act out on it, I'm really proud of myself. Because to see, like yesterday with the music, no offense, but at 8:00 in the morning on a Saturday, that's not what I want to hear blaring up through my floor. So when I went down and I was nice and the guy was nice back and then turned the music down, I was like, oh, look how powerful I am. Sagittarius, this is all about you blossoming into a place where you feel beautiful. And beauty isn't about physical appearance. It's about something much deeper. All right, let's go on to our Scorpios. I got to tell you, it's kind of funny because that finger, while I don't use it very often, I found there's another finger that's much more offensive. But I'm not going to tell you what it is right now. It's too gross. Okay. All right, Scorpio, here we go. This is the Six of Pentacles. Now, I'm under the impression you guys are not completely unfamiliar with the tarot. So this is a have and have not card. We see the Libran scales of justice. We see that the man is turning to one beggar, but he doesn't seem to be turning to the other. Now, I want to offer it this way because I think this is a perception. So let's see what happens. Okay, because Scorpio, there's a little, when I look at this, that if indeed for some reason this lunar eclipse brought some feeling of loss or some feeling of erosion, or it brought the illumination that a situation, a dynamic, a person is not going to work out, I think that there's the potential that Spirit is asking you to look deeper as to whether or not you would really feel enriched or be a have or a have not within the situation. All right, here we go. Vanessa is in the foundational position. Maya's in the opportunity or the obstacle. Celeste is in the angel's advice. And Athena is in the final position. All right, here we go. Of all the signs, and I don't want to negate them, I think it's so important for Scorpio to honor their heart. They have needs and desires that are very deep and very savory. And I feel like when Scorpio dumbs down and has a more shallow experience, they're just not playing to their highest vibration. And I don't think it's about excavating it from someone else as much as it's allowing those laws of attraction to bring in somebody who is, or bring in situations of people who vibrate like you. Vanessa is being joined by the Risk card. Maya's being joined by the Horse. Celeste is being joined by the Fire Fairy. And Athena is being joined by the Wind Fairy. So when I look at the Six of Pentacles, I feel like it's super important for Scorpio to start to think of myself as a have. And I want to offer it this way. I don't care if it's in a relationship. I don't care if it's materially. I don't care if it's, I want to be more connected to my family, my neighborhood. And I think that it's about maybe in some respects turning your attention towards what it is you want versus concentrating on what you're not getting. Because Vanessa is asking you to start to have faith in something you can't see. That's what the Risk card is all about. And I know it's not easy to have faith in something you can't see, but you can do it incrementally because there's something is not working out. And I think, when I'm to be perfectly honest with myself about certain relationships I've tried to endeavor, professional relationships that didn't seem to really take hold. And I'm a Libra. Every astrologer tells me I'm supposed to be partnership oriented, and it hasn't worked out that way. And I say that because in my professional life, it hasn't worked out any better than it has in my personal life. But I also know where my focus is, and I know that I'm not a very cooperative partner because I have too many pushy ideas, to be honest. So I want to offer this because for my Scorpios, I think it's time for you to go in a new direction. And Spirit's been trying to teach you that. And I think that this is in direct relation to Celeste and the Fire Fairy. Celeste talks about a new job, a new home. But I always think of it as a way I'm thinking in order for me to actually shift, because wherever I am, I think a certain way. So I want to offer it this way because Scorpio is a fixed sign and doesn't like to shift easily. But I don't know if this is really a shift that isn't already ingrained within you. If this isn't something that's already true to your heart and you've been ignoring it, it's almost as if this could be the three parts of yourself. And there's a part of you that is giving your power away to someone else so that you can feel like I have, but you've really been feeling like I have not, because the scales of justice are sitting over this guy. And here in the final position for Scorpio is the Wind Fairy and Athena. And I think, that you could inadvertently be overly projecting how this will play out. And that's where, because Vanessa talks about faith or fear, and there's a risk here. So you're going to have to think about things in a different way. And, it's not easy to think about solutions when problems are, hippo high, but there's also the idea that really successful people somehow cut through those problems and are able to focus on at least seeking a solution. So here, I think the solution comes from Scorpio somehow admitting that whatever they're focused in right now is not serving them. It's not feeding them. It's not making them feel fulfilled. And there's a little bit of a risk having to move towards what does fulfill you. This feels a little bit like it has something to do with your material, because this is a material card. The pentacles are always going to refer to material. This would be the more fixed energy of the material, which is my Aquarian. No, I'm sorry. Taurus. So I want to offer it this way, because here we are, Scorpio, talking about a fixed energy with money, Taurus. And I feel as if it's time for you to move in a new direction that's more highlighting things that make you feel inspired. And let's look at it this way, because if indeed you're of a certain age and you have no interest in changing your professional life, then maybe what it is giving yourself permission to be a little bit more frivolous, to think that, when we go into a place where we say to ourselves, oh, I can't afford that, and it's only $20, you're in trouble, because you're lowering the universe's ability to bring in resources. So I feel a little bit like this is risking having faith. And Maya's going to teach you something. And the horse is also, to me, very Sagittarian. So it may even take your philosophies in a new direction. I feel very fortunate that I believe so strongly that Spirit will provide whatever I need, and it's a matter of my focus. So when I'm getting near my rent time and I don't see the money in my bank account, rather than worrying, will the money show up, I just say to Spirit, okay, fill the calendar. And then I go do something else. And then the phone starts to ring. It works. And when you get enough momentum going, you don't have to work hard. It just starts to happen. This is, again, momentum. All right. Let's go on to our Libras. For those of you that weren't here earlier, our little, we have a wilted flower in our bunch, and she's not feeling very well. So send small wildflowers some love. All right. For our Libras, how funny. Okay. Because you guys all know I'm a Libra sun. And what shows up? Our Emperor, Aries. This is very interesting to me, because we have this conjunction that's already started between Mars and Jupiter, becoming, expanding, this passion, this feeling of I can do it. You know, there's a lot of enthusiasm attached to that idea. And the little bit of the challenge with these two planets together is the follow through, because they get very excited about the idea. Then we want to see it happen right away. And we have to kind of sort of continue down the journey. So let's see what this has to do for Libra. The Aries energy on this is always so strong for me. You know, there's so many ram's heads, even the way his feet are, the texture on his armor feels so ram-like. Yeah, well, you know, she hasn't had a Sunday off in years, so I'm hoping she's really resting, or at least resting playing and not out there mowing her lawn or running to Costco. Okay, here we go. Libra, we have Bethany. This is about self-care. Then we have Chantal, the angel of romance. We have Bridget asking us to look deeper. And we have Indriel. So let's see if this is about romance or if this is about what you love. Are there wildfires somewhere? I didn't hear about that. Sending love to everybody that would be Jupiter and Mars would definitely potentially create fires. Is there fire somewhere going on? Oh no. All over New Mexico. Oh no. Saying prayers for those people. That's so scary. Fire is very scary. All right, Libra. Bethany is being joined by the Focus card. Chantal is being joined by the Love card. Woo! Bridget is being joined by the Fear card. And Indriel is being joined by the Earth Fairy. This is very interesting to me. I'm going to pull one more clarification card because I want to see if this is actually about love or if this is about what you love. This is about what you love. I pulled the history card. Okay. So Bethany, you know, Libra is a very partnership sign. It's very oriented for partnership. It's an interesting sign because on some level, Libra will compromise to its detriment. Okay. So I want to offer it this. The focus on yourself right now is a bit of a balance because I want to offer this, and nobody really considers this. When we focus on ourselves in a way that isn't in anger or in opposition, like I've been taking care of you forever, now I'm taking care of me, that's not the right vibration. When we actually take care of ourselves, you know, I got this. I need a nap today, or I need to go shop and buy something new because, you know, Venus rules Libra. So Libra's always going to enjoy doing a little shopping, because I feel as if without realizing it, it could actually be something that brings more balance. The Emperor is a very warm energy for me. And this is passion. You know, Aries is passion. It is fire. It's courage. It's bravery. It's I kind of like, I want to go like this. And it's almost like I feel like I'm throwing out a fireball, but it feels more like it's inspired, creative, passion, action. Because this Chantal and Love card, it didn't come up as intimate love. It's in the opportunity or the obstacle, and it's in direct relation to Bridget and Fear. And it makes me feel like, Libra, are you focusing in on what you love? Because if inadvertently you're focusing in on what you fear, and let me offer it this way. As a Libra sun, you know, I when they started the construction, okay, I live in a building, everyone's been here forever and a day. So of course, like two guys, different guys walked up to me and said, oh, it's going to be months and months. It's going to be so disruptive, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, am I going to listen to this? Because it could be true. And I was like, no, I'm going to work my magic. I'm going to look deeper. I'm going to face everything and rise. I'm going to say to spirit, they're going to want to get this done as quickly as possible. I'm going to learn how to work with the disruptions, and I'm going to focus in on what I love in the meantime. because I think there's a real opportunity for Libra to feel inspired action about some new ground. And I want to offer it this way about stepping out on new ground. And it doesn't mean that you move to a new place, but it's something about reconciling your history. And this is something that's been a prayer for me lately, because I have a pretty good life, but I don't always acknowledge that good life. Sometimes that even when everything is super fine, I'll go and just like a sniper, I will go walking through the history of my life, and I'll be like, you done me wrong. You done me wrong. You've ignored me. You didn't return my call. You made me feel less than. And this is not anybody else ruining my life. This is me telling an old story that doesn't work with me. So I really want to say for my Libras, focusing in on self-care at this moment could actually be something you do for your loved ones, so they don't feel. Libra and Cancer for me have a little bit of a codependency. Sometimes they overly love other people, and that love becomes obligatory, and it doesn't feel so good for the other people. So when you love yourself, you kind of give your love life a revival in some way. It's like the person doesn't feel the pressure to be something for you or to even be there for you. So I want to offer this because I feel like the Earth Fairy is giving you a new beginning, a new ground to stand on that incorporates your history versus trying to release it. Don't ever try to release your history. I'm telling you right now, God bless those people that do releasing ceremonies. I don't think 3/4 of the zodiac signs can actually do that. Maybe maybe Pisces can do it, but for the most part, I haven't met very many people who can. All right. Okay. All right. Well, let's send the world a little bit of love. And it's such a crazy time. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's always a crazy time. It's just the way this whole place works. Lucy Rose, I've tried to do so many releasing ceremonies, and I just started to think of it as a tapestry. My life is a tapestry, and the colors of my life pop mostly because of those dark spots that surround the color. And as I kind of surrendered to that idea, then it really became more about my own personal responsibility for how much I'm going to focus in on what doesn't work versus what does. So, all right, let's go into our Virgos. As a time for compassion, Virgo. This strength card comes from passion. From compassion. It comes from this idea. This woman is the ultimate in taming the beast, is because she sees the beast within herself. There is a relatability that makes me not have to go combatively at a situation. So that is for Virgo, your ability to be compassionate. Now, let me offer this. The compassion doesn't necessarily mean I have to see things from your point of view. The compassion comes from the idea of, how would I respond if this energy was coming to me? So if you're in an uncomfortable situation, or you have arguments or any sort of, here we have Mars and Jupiter about to be conjunct. And as they creep into Aries, there could be conflict with beliefs. And how do you want to work that conflict of belief? Because it isn't about saying yes or no. It's not about being black or white. It's about, as I disagree with you, I want to be compassionate for your differing opinion, as I would like you to be compassionate for my differing opinion. I think that will be very helpful, because on the shadow side of Virgo, because Virgo rules service and it rules health, there could be this slight bit of criticism that comes up. And if the people around you or situations around you have felt criticized, or felt that they were not up to snuff in some way, by coming through whatever the situation is. I mean, I'm talking, you could be walking through the line at the supermarket and be annoyed by the checker. It doesn't have to be a big situation, but your awareness and your willingness to not even care whether the other person receives your communication, but just be happy about, look at how I did that. I communicated that better than I thought I could. I feel good about how I did that. Because I don't think that this universe is about trying to always be happy and go lucky. I think that there's actually a lot of joy and wisdom to be garnished through challenges and triumphs, or challenges and trials. And through the triumph of them, this is where those pearls come in and that compassion comes in. And then we kick in the laws of attraction. And then inadvertently, we start to live happier lives because we have surrendered in some way. Okay, here we go. Bridget is asking Virgo to look a little deeper. We'll find into what. Sonia is a deceased loved one or your team watching over you. Crystal saying have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And the final is Layla. You know, Virgo's a doer. And there could potentially be, what we're looking at is that compassion is not just with others, but with yourself as spirit is leading you towards a different situation. Let's see what Bridget's wanting you to look deeper into. Your joy, your ability to feel joy. Sonia is your team of your heavenly hosts. Everybody has a team of guides. I believe we have like sort of varying teams. And I think that on a soul level, we've structured our schools with those teachers are the same thing. They represent our guides. And so we have certain guides for certain chapters of our life. Then they leave and new guides come in. And then we have a team that's assigned to us for life. And I believe that right now there is compassion being asked as you focus in on more joy than the things you need to get done, the things that are required of you, the service that you are implementing for others. And I even want to say, Virgo, look into the service you are doing for others, because if inadvertently you're picking up more than what you should be doing or should be owning, then you may not be doing as much of a service as you think you are. Because I really think that this unstable new beginning that the novice offers is your team asking you to sit in more reception of things. This is Crystal saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon. And the Queen is about being calm as you receive inspired action, inspired resources, unbeknownst things. And I want to offer this too, because I think that there could be in this particular reading, Spirit asking Virgo, how do you receive your bounty? Do you do it well? Do you receive it and take it in, or do you accomplish something and then go right on to the next thing? Because that might be part of it. Because as we sit, Layla asks us to sit and to contemplate the things that we want, our intentions, and the fire fairy is here. And I think this is really about a creative project, something that might be, I want to offer it this way, because when I look here for Virgo, and most people don't think of Virgo as very crafty, that's not what we term it, but there's a lot of elements to our chart. So if you're a Virgo rising, you may enjoy crafts, you may enjoy art, you may enjoy something. Here is about being compassionate of self while you go a different direction. You start to pay attention to the things that you enjoy. You give yourself a little bit of downtime and you watch the vibration of what you do when you are being in a dutiful energy. Because if for some reason because sometimes this is where Capricorn and Virgo kind of feel the same, similar to me, in the sense of sometimes you want something done and other people slack and you just get up and do it. And if indeed you just get up and do, well, I'll just do it myself. It'll be easier. It'll drive me crazy to see those dishes sitting in the sink while I wait for my kids to clean them. You know what? Go outside. Don't look at the dishes. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying, Virgo. Because the shadow side of you doing the dishes is getting mad about it resentfully underneath, and thereby starting to stack up things that aren't working for you, meaning I have to do all the work and nobody helps me. That becomes a vibration. And then that vibration goes over and over and over again until you start to annoy yourself. because that keeps coming into your experience. So as you're shifting out of that, it's never about judgment. It's always about, oh, I have an awareness. I'm not enjoying myself enough. Good, Juan. Good. Way to represent. Let your staff do all the good work. Somebody, they didn't do the work, they wouldn't have a job. All right. Now look at you, Miss Capital Letters. I haven't had a car for 3 years, and I don't drive anymore either, and I don't care. And I'm not disabled. I just don't care. And it's interesting because as I contemplated giving up my car, I kept saying to Spirit, can I afford to give up my car? Because, I need a job. They're like, you have a job. Stay the course. Okay, let's go on to our Leos. What is the card for you? All right. This is a guy that's sitting literally in malcontent. Look at him. He's just annoyed. He's looking at his cups. They're not good enough. He don't like them, and he cannot see what's being offered to him. So let's see what this is about. I can't help as I look at this, Leo, that sometimes when I think I want something and I'm really frustrated that I didn't get it, in hindsight, I'm like, wow, I'm so lucky I didn't get that. Who is David Palmer? Is he in the chat? I don't know who that is. I don't know a lot about people on the news, so I don't know if he's on the news. All right, let's look at Leo. Our first angel is Opal. The second is Archangel Raphael. The third is Isabella. And the final is Omega. Wow. Leo rose children. Let's see. Oh, he's a magician. He's the Leo king. Who's the Leo king? Oh, well, no, the Leo king. Isn't that the guy, the astrologer on YouTube? Isn't he Indian? Okay, yeah, okay. I didn't realize that his name was David Palmer. He does not look like a David Palmer at all. I just always thought of him as a Leo king. All right, here we go. Leo, Opal is being joined by the Forgiveness card. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the Wasp. Isabella is being joined by the Trust card. And Omega is being joined by the Joy card. I got to tell you something. Okay. I really, really want us to start to think that sometimes the things that we want, when we initially think we want them, we're looking at it from a narrow point of view. Because I feel when I look at this is divine discontent. Absolutely. 145 Club. That's a great way to put it. There's something that feels for Leo as if I have been wanting something and I see some evidence and it isn't coming. Now, let me offer it this way, because we didn't get a lot of children cards, but we did get Opal. And Opal represents your children on heaven and earth. And there's the Forgiveness card. So I'm going to do this 2 ways. If you are a person who wants children and are of childbearing years, then this is, you've got to think about what the transits have been. And if you were, incarnating right now, would you want Pluto squaring, everything and its mother in your natal chart? It might be a little bit challenging, because I think if you're a Leo who wants to bring children in, then if you think of things in a divine timing, it can take the sting off of things, because Archangel Raphael is a physical healing, and there's the anger and frustration of the Wasp. Now, Isabella is asking you to trust a divine timing of things. And then in the final position is the Joy card and Omega. So there will be a victory here. So I want to offer this. I have a client who just, I think it was like last Sunday, maybe, I can't quite remember. Her husband came to see me and we did the whole reading, and, I know them. So I got children cards, but I didn't acknowledge them as children cards. I looked at them a little bit differently. At the very end of the reading, he told me she was pregnant. She is like 41 years old. And when I texted her, she said, in the text back, I'm scared and I'm old. And I'm like shaking my finger at him. I'm like, don't be you saying you're old. You're representing for all the people who are fearful they will not be able to have children because the medical community has told you that your eggs die when you're 4 years old. So I want to offer this. If you're a Leo and you've been wanting to have children, this is a good time to now start to give that life again. Start having fun. Don't look at your period. Don't look at your sperm. Just go be a teenager and do it and have fun and you'll get pregnant. Because that's how they did it. They thought, oh, we're too old to get pregnant now. They didn't worry about anything. They went and had a good time and bada bing, bada boom. Surprise, surprise. And the year before, they'd been trying to have a baby. Trying doesn't work. All right, now let's go to our Leos who are not of childbearing years, and let's talk about this from a different perception. Because Opal also represents my inner child for me. And if you are a true Leo, like I'm sure you are, rising moon, sun, or stelliums, birthing yourself into this world is super important in whatever way. Yes, I did say 4 years old. So I want to offer this because if you're trying to birth a part of yourself into the world, something creative, again, we have to look at the timing of things. You know, the United States has its own birth chart. We know that. And I was going to talk about it a little bit, but I don't think it's going to come up today. But Chiron is creeping up on the United States natal Chiron. That's going to be fun. So the reason I say that is because everything has a chart. So if you're birthing something like a creative project, or you're birthing a new YouTube channel, or you're birthing anything, you know, professionally, it too has a divine timing. So as you start to trust that, you will start to be healed from your anger. You'll be like, oh, I think I get it. Because this has been something that's come to me. And I actually was like, oh, I was so frustrated. And now I get why that didn't happen when I thought it was supposed to happen. Because there is, yes, the timing is right. It will happen. And there's the trust card. And this ends with the victory and the joy card. So it's probably going to work out better than you think it will. And part of whatever's going on, whatever has been missing, God is trying to offer it to you in a better form. And there's a part of you that has to lift your sight up. It's about looking up into what is this disruption teaching me? Because it could be something that's actually building a muscle so that when you get where you want to be, you're more able to stand in that platform on solid ground, meaning you trust yourself more. Okay. You're telling me to breathe. Am I talking too fast? I do talk fast sometimes. And I have no planets in Gemini. And my Mercury's in Scorpio, next to Neptune. I wonder sometimes if I'll lose my mind. Oh, you breathe. Okay. All right, let's go on to our Cancers. Ooh, like he's having a dream. Can you see him? He's having a dream. Okay, here we go. Cancer. This is so fun. This is the 9 of Cups. This is personal satisfaction. This guy is sitting there. He's like, I did this. Look at me. I did this and I'm proud of myself. You know what I noticed on all my TV shows that I love to watch is happy people can be proud of themselves. Happy people can look at what they create and they go, I like that. And even if they do something they don't like, they're like, oh, I can fix that. So I feel as if that the main theme this week for this, you know, coming up is to start to really be proud of yourself, Cancer. Start to focus in on the things that you're happy about. Now let's see let's narrow this down. Lucky's funny when he dreams. I wish I could get in there and see what he's dreaming about. If it's me and he's mad at me, I'd be sad. He's like schooling somebody. All right, Cancer. Francesca is our first angel. The second is Archangel Gabriel. The third is Oceana. And the final is Grace and Antoinette. You know, I'm going to offer this because I've been talking a lot about over these last couple of years that since COVID, that Cancer's really taken a beating. And then when you think about Pluto opposing Cancer, holy cow, you know, that's not easy. So I want to offer this because when I first look at this, it feels as if this satisfaction comes from Cancer starting to be the driver of their emotions a little bit more than feeling like the ocean is taking me over. Let's see. Francesca is being joined by the disruption card. Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the spider. Oceana is being joined by the high priestess. And Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the dog. Oh, this is lovely. This is really lovely. Okay. I believe that this disruption card is actually the disruption of the negativity that you may have been focusing in on. You know, we are humans and we are predisposed. We are pre-wired. We are trained from the very, very beginning to sort of, you know, look at the dark side of things, where we can improve, where we can be better, where we can think of people more, other people. Don't think of yourself. I mean, it's so bass-ackward. So I think Cancer, being the ultimate nurturer and the ultimate, you know, representation of how we nurture ourselves, now you're starting to disrupt those thoughts. And I think you're starting to recognize them. And instead of judging yourself, you're starting to feel like, wow, well, maybe something's not so bad here. Maybe I'm actually getting better because Archangel Gabriel is all about my thoughts and my speech. And now I think you're starting to get your speech, it's sticking. It's getting into the web of your own existence, and you're starting to realize that I'm creating a relationship with my words. And my words now get to align to my intuitive body, to what I know, what my soul wants, and what my soul deserves. And this is an intuitive energy because in the final position is Grace and Antoinette, and there's the ultimate love card. And I feel like the dog is like, you know, obviously we've been talking about Lucky in his dreams, but I feel like this is where you're going to feel love different. Like you're going to be able to feel it more in a more solid way, and at the same time be maybe a little less fearful of love. It's kind of interesting, and I don't want to make everything about intimate love. We feel loved in so many ways. We want to feel loved in our communities. We want to feel like the people that interact with us enjoy those interactions. We want to feel like we're loved by our children and our kids. And I don't have any kids, but I have the dog. I'll tell you, for a long time, I have been such a Lucky. Do you love me? I'm not even sure you love me. And then I don't know if you guys remember, he bit me. Remember when I tried to take I wasn't trying to take his treat away. I was trying to wipe his eye, and he had a treat in his mouth, and he bit me. And then I stopped loving him as much. And it wasn't like I didn't love him as much. It was more like I wasn't afraid to love him anymore. I'm like, you know what? You're a mean little dog, and I'm going to put you in the pound. And I was joking, of course, but what I realized is that I had been loving him from a place of being afraid of losing him. And Cancer, I think that's a little sometimes what happens to you. You know, you love something so wholeheartedly that you get afraid of losing it. So now I think you're starting to be aware, and you're starting to drive the bus a little bit more. I'm not going to lose anything. There's nothing to be lost. Everything cycles through for a reason. Everything comes through. So now I'm going to start to disrupt that negativity. I'm going to start to catch my words. I'm going to start to align my words to what I really want to experience. And even if I'm feeling a little funky, I don't have to avoid feeling funky. I just get to be authentic spirit. I'm having a funky moment. I'm going into my old pattern. Thank you so much for helping me realign myself. Did you know that your guides have nothing to do if you don't ask them to help you? They literally sit there like watching a baseball game. They can't do anything. You've got to invite them into the game. And they're not there to rescue you. They're not there to make your problems better. They're there to bring wisdom. Lucky is a Pisces with a Aries moon. Lucky me. And what was his rising sign? I think I knew that at one point. Can't remember right now. I tried to figure out his chart. I got more focused on the fact that his Jupiter and his Venus flank my moon. My moon's right in the middle. Okay. All right. Gemini. Here we go. The Judgment card. Now, don't be afraid of this card. This is actually a very lovely card. This is Archangel Gabriel heralding a new day. This is the phoenix rising from the coffin, rising from the ashes, because there's been illumination. Let's see. That's Pluto, by the way. Judgment is the Pluto card, or Pluto is the Judgment card. I love those little twins. Thank you, Lucy. Okay. Isabella is our first angel. Celeste is our second. The third is Francesca. And the final is Desiree. Yes, Faith. I know Pluto has a heart on it. It's like, it's very dominant and it's full of this very cold substance. I don't think it's water. It's like a combination of water and gases that bubbles up under the surface. I watch Nova too. So that's why I learned that. And that's why I have surrendered to Pluto. I have decided that Pluto is not a malefic planet. All the other astrologers can make fun of me, but it's only malefic if you are not willing to see the lie that you're telling yourself that Pluto is going to murder and kill. And if that's a relationship that you're being abused in, or is out of balance, or you're in a work situation where you're working your butt off and you're making no money, bad things can happen. At least that's the way they appear, but they're not bad. They were bad because they were out of balance and Pluto kills them. So I've come to the idea that I'm going to make friends with Pluto. But what do you want me to know, Pluto? Where am I lying to myself? Where am I holding myself small? Isabella, Gemini, is being joined by the butterfly, the blossoming beauty, and the butterfly. Then Celeste is being joined by the water fairy. Francesca is being joined by the partnership card, and Desiree is being joined by Merlin. There's a moment coming. So we have a new moon coming up for you. I haven't done that video yet because, I will, but I want to offer this because I think this for Gemini, the judgment isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. So you are rising like the phoenix because you are hearing a call to a higher purpose. And if you've been juiced, if you've been, working hard for no money, then, or you've been in a relationship or even in a family dynamic, in it, I think something's going to happen. And I want to offer it this way because it doesn't feel like it happens on the outside. It feels like it happens on the inside. Because Isabella is saying it's time to blossom out of that cocoon and to start to capture and claim the beauty in your life. And this is really an opportunity for you to shift the way you're thinking. Celeste is always about the way I'm thinking, moving from one place to another. And in this particular case, it's into your emotional body, and to be aware of how sometimes the human inadvertently thinks that it's working on a solution when there's a lot of focus on the problem. Because Francesca is saying, what are you visualizing right now? And there's the partnership card. And the partnership card feels like it comes in relation to your feelings. They're from the same deck. And Celeste and Francesca are from the same deck. So Celeste is asking you to move away from negativity. And if you've been a Gemini and you're going back and forth thinking, yes, no, maybe, I don't know, because that can happen, then give yourself a moment to rest, because Merlin is about magic, justice, balance, and alchemy. And Desiree is if conditions aren't favorable. So right now, rather than Mercury retrograde, let's look at it this way. What if now is a time to think about, what do I want for myself in 5 years? What do I want for myself in 3 years? What do I want? What really, truly makes me happy? Because, I'll tell you, there's a lot of things I enjoy. I like going to concerts and I like going to the movies. But, my favorite thing is sitting around with people I enjoy and drinking a nice glass of wine and having great food and being in nature, sitting outside. And, and so I got to really dig deep and kind of get past the superficial things that I think I want down to the things I really want. Because that's what Pluto is going to do. get down to what you really want. So if for some reason, because Gemini's easygoing in some ways, it's very, busy, running around everywhere. So maybe this is a little bit about, because, when I think about Gemini, the third house, it rules my teammates, my workmates, my neighborhoods, my communities, my driveway, my escalators, the mall, walking around the mall, my emails. Yeah, everything to do with communications, teaching, writing. And I think this is about really, it's time to really think about where you find beauty in your life, where you want to blossom. It isn't about taking action. It's about teeing up for this new moon in Gemini. And this is where I feel like this idea of putting my intention out to the universe and then not taking action, but rather saying, all right, Spirit, if I'm lined up energetically in the way that I want, because I know you know what I want, then give me signs and omens to move forward or to back off. I was posting so many videos at the end of April. I was like, even people that don't usually comment on my videos were like, you were blowing up my feed. And then I felt like I just stopped, right? Like I got Sunday done and then things just got more difficult. And there was a part of me that thought I should just keep moving at that pace, but that pace was not doable. At the pace I was working towards a burnout and going to create a situation where I wasn't actually enjoying what I was putting out because I was feeling I had to do it versus enjoying doing it. So that's where I'm going with my Geminis. It's time for you to assess this. For you, yes, for it to be sustainable, Juan, exactly. And sustainable, not just for your wallet, but for your ultimate happiness. And again, when I say look deeper, maybe some of this is not about money, but about time. Again, time. People work their whole lives to retire. What a ridiculous concept. What a ridiculous concept. All right, let's go on to our Tauruses. Venus is entering your sign. Oh my goodness. She's going to be so happy. Not that she wasn't enjoying Aries, but she's, there's a good shopping day for her there. She's going to get her hair done, her nails done. Yeah, management of time. But, the thing about time, too, is that it's a commodity that we don't pay attention to. And yet at the same time, when we have certain blocks of it that we can spend in enjoyment, we don't. I worked for other people forever in a day. And I used to say on a cloudy day, God, if I could just be at home right now, I would lay in bed all day and do nothing. Do you know how many times I've done that? Since I started working for myself? Once. And I did it once because I wasn't feeling well. I've never laid around and watched a movie during the day. Even when I'm home and I have nothing to do, I'm like, well, you got to do something. This is a very weird human thing. So I think when we think about Lucy Rose, the management of time, I think we need to think about time in a way that gives us permission to give play as much emphasis and as much credence as we do purposeful action, like production. All right, Taurus, what's your tarot card? Don't be a hoarder with your money. Four of Pentacles. This is not a card of poverty. It's a card of hoarding your money. It's a card of being fearful of money. It's a card that says, "Oop, I can't spend that $20. $20 is nothing." So I want to offer this, Taurus. If indeed you're feeling tight with money, go spend some money. I'm not saying put yourself in debt, but go buy yourself some flowers. You could buy some palms for $4.99. Do something nice for yourself. Let's see. I'm a Taurus moon. Let's see where we're feeling the money. My deck's flying everywhere. Lucky cracks me up. He loves to sit under that chair. That chair is full of bite marks, by the way, from when he was a puppy. He used to sit there and chew on the little bars by the legs. Okay, here we go. Are you out, Shelley? Have a great week. All right. There they go. Really flying on the floor this time. Okay. Yep, we'll be sending her some good vibes later. I'm glad she's taking the day off. She deserves it. I hope she's having rest and fun. All right. Taurus, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Maya. The second is Ray. The third is Mystique. And the final is Vanessa. Oh, wait. Oh, I did my tarot card. Okay. All right. So I haven't looked into it, but I've noticed that the nodes are hanging out at 22 degrees for like what feels like forever. And 22 degrees is a little bit scary, you know, meaning according to Nikolai, it was a rather harsh energy, but I want to offer it this way because I really look at that 22 as the number because it represents Capricorn. That's why he says that. But it also represents cooperation. And when I'm looking at Taurus right now, Maya's teaching us something. And I think she might be teaching us something about our focus of money. So let's see what she has to say. Yes, Maya is teaching us about fear. And it must do with money. There's the eagle joining Ray. Mystique is being joined by the focus card. And Vanessa is being joined by the queen. Okay. God bless my Tauruses. And I'm a Taurus moon. I know all about being a Taurus. And this is where I have to say, sorry, I had a little weird bubble in my chest. I am not really a worrier of money, but I will say that over the last ever since actually Venus left Capricorn, I've been more concerned about money. And only because I'm like a dumbass, the way I've been doing things, I don't need to tell you all that stuff. But my point is this. What I think I've noticed is that there's a part of me that goes through what the human tells me about money. You got to work hard for money. You got to get up early. You got to pound the pavement. You got to make those phone calls. You got to crack the whip, crack the whip, crack the whip. I'm not that person. So what I've learned is that, okay, Spirit, I'm having a moment about money. And what do? I don't do anything until I get myself lined up because that's what I think this is about. Okay, because I can actually feel the difference between a genuine smile on my face in meditation, feeling abundant, and a little bit of fear attached to that feeling. So rather than trying to fake it out, rather than trying to tell Spirit, I'm not scared, I just tell I am scared. So now I need you to help me face everything and rise. Because here it is straight up. Taurus, everything you want to create is going to be because of your connection to Spirit, and being aware of that connection will bring you comfort, and that comfort will start the laws of attraction. The laws of attraction will kick in the law of inspired action, which will kick in the law of perpetual motion. I mean, there are so many layers to this because right here, what you're learning, because if you're focused on, I ain't got no money, you ain't going to have no money. Quit saying that. Look, keep charging ahead, expect miraculous solutions, and focus on the idea that money comes to me easily and often. All of my resources, everything I need is provided for me. Because here in the final position, you're not just learning about faith, you're learning how to receive. I'm not saying this is because I believe this is to be some sort of magical fairy-like potion. I literally believe that the law of attraction, the law of allowing, the law of resistance all comes into play. And when we look at people like Elon Musk or JP Morgan or Vanderbilt or Donald Trump. I mean, you look at anybody who's amassed a large amount of material, Bezos, whatever, Amazon guy, all of them have one thing in common. Problems are just stepping stones for them to get where they need to go. And their faith in themselves supersedes their fear. So I feel like this is super important for Taurus right now, because that could very well be why the North Node is transiting you right now. So you become even more determined to claim yourself. We have Uranus trying to liberate you from everything that's held you back before. So I think it's super important to start to pay attention to where your fear is making you believe something or focus in on something that's actually creating more fear. All right, let's go on to our final sign, Aries, which is going to enjoy Jupiter for the next year in its sign. And that I do believe is a joy, because fire, it's like an inferno of ideas and passion and all sorts of warm, fuzzy things. All right, let's see. All right, Aries, here we go. This is the Eight of Swords. This is, again, a mutable air. So we're looking at Gemini here. We're looking at too much thought. We're looking at thought as a part of the wall of I don't want to use resistance. That's not the right word. Because this is the way this wall is not really a wall. It's more of a, look at the way the swords always represent air. So if you look at the first sword closest to my finger, it's in the forefront and then it seems to go around, and this character becomes part of the problem. And this is kind of what I've been talking to this whole time, is that as we focus on the problem, we become inadvertently trapped by it. And when we look at this character, we really see that the blindfold is quite loose. The ties, it almost feels like this woman is holding herself in this rather than these ties binding her. So there's something that I think is going on that will probably, as we see Mars, the ruling planet of Aries, become actually conjunct with Jupiter, there may be something that comes as a pop. And when I say that, I mean it's like an epiphany. And we suddenly wiggle out of those chains that bind us. And I want to offer it this way, because I called them chains, but actually these kind of look like cloth. It looks like cotton, little cotton strips, the fabric of our lives. I want to offer this too, because, Aries out of balance, and I'm not necessarily talking about anyone here. I'm talking about if you encounter others who, Aries is everywhere. And I really think that we've got a lot going on politically. I'm not going to get into right or wrong. I don't really care, because I think everybody serves a purpose at some point or another. But one of the things coming up is the overturning of Roe versus Wade. And I don't think that's going to actually happen. I think I've told you guys even before this started, I have seen a million mom march on Washington. I believe it's going to happen within the next year or two. It's going to be a huge historic event. And we're seeing all the things that are leading up to it now. My point about this is that as we see Mars and Jupiter come together, we are going to see some people become very impassioned about what they believe, whether we agree with what they believe or not. As a mindful, conscious group of people, do we want to join in and become a problem? Or do we want to represent balance and walk away and be a pioneer when we know we're talking to something or being involved in a situation where we will have very little influence? I think for Aries, it's hard to do that. Aries has a tendency to think of themselves as a leader, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just more about, sometimes you can't lead everybody. So you have to know when to inspire them rather than lead them. Okay, here we go. For our Aries, we have Layla in the first position. We have Caressa in the second position. We have Shanti, the angel of peace, in the third position. And we have Opal in the final position. Layla is being joined by the love card. Caressa is being joined by the power and strength card in the form of the dragon. We have Shanti being joined by the frog and Opal joined by the partnership card. I think this is super powerful for Aries because I think that Aries can be completely authentic to who they are when they start to really realize that, when I was younger, there were people that I would stand up for. Like I would consider them to be people who didn't have a voice or people that were weak. Oftentimes there were people older than me. I can remember my brother-in-law's mom, Annie. She was like 80 something. And this doctor was really being rude to her. And I got up his grill. I was like, look, who do you think you are? He's like, I saved her life. I know. And I looked at him, I go, no, you did your job. She almost died. She was so upset with me for sticking up for her. Okay. I'm saying this because I think Aries has got to start to pick their battles a little bit and really decide where to use your fire, because I think you can use it just as powerfully when you start to observe how it lands on others. Because I think Aries wants to feel loved. And sometimes when you're the pioneer out and, going there, like Lewis and Clark, and, Lewis is over there and you're over here and you're feeling a little lonely. Because I think Aries sometimes feels very alone. And so I think that it's time to talk to Spirit about how you feel loved. Because I know it sounds a little crazy, but I feel like it's not about not being you. It's sort of about being you, but in a version. Let's look at it this way. I feel as if, how can I phrase it? I feel like my power and strength does not come from being overly powerful, but actually knowing how much power I have. So I start off soft. I start off engaging. And as I go through a situation, because something is holding Aries in a pattern, something is holding you in a pattern of thought or in a pattern of feeling trapped in some way. And I don't think it's all about the outside. So now I want to be calmer as I end a certain cycle. Is it worth it to have my blood pressure go up to here? Am I screaming at someone who can't even hear me? Am I overly thinking about something that I will have absolutely no benefit for me? Because I think what you're learning is how to be the peaceful warrior, how to be powerful without giving up or how to be peaceful without giving up your power, because that's what Shanti is offering, a more tranquil road. And here is the cleaning up of my emotional baggage. And I want it to be like the emotional baggage to me always feels like when it says cleaning the house, it's the house of the mind. And as I've gotten older, like yesterday, was it really important or for me to yell at this construction worker, or was I going to be more powerful by being engaging? Did they turn their music up a little bit later? Yeah, but then I heard them turn it right back down again. So it must have been somebody who didn't know I'd been there, but the other guy was protecting me. Because I feel like this is, honestly, I feel like this is your inner child, and that partnership and the love that you're talking to with Spirit is about being able to be yourself and being celebrated for it. To stop being looked at as Aries, the warrior, Aries, the angry one, Aries, the hostile one, the blunt one, the one that doesn't care. That's so not true. They care so much. That's the opposite. And that's why they get, I believe, as an Aries rising, sometimes bunched up, because we want to go and we want to fight the injustice. We want to fight the imbalance. But that imbalance serves balance. And I think that's partially what's going on here. So as this week moves forward, and as your ruling planet, Aries, feels a stoke and a very fervent sort of energy, I almost feel like, you could get really, really aroused this week, both passionately for creative projects and intimately. You may see other people that you find very attractive. Just be mindful as you walk towards that. Remember that the Jupiter is expanding things. And then as Mars moves away from it, a truth will be there. Kind of want to, there's two ways I want to look at this. I want to say to Aries, How you respond to any given situation isn't about the other person. It's about and how you want to feel about you when you walk away from that. So if you want to be a lob their head off warrior, that's fine because you can own it. But if you truly are invested in that relationship, then showing up in your truth and lovingly asserting yourself. Let me give you an example of what I mean. When I say I'm lovingly asserting myself when I'm pissed off, it's like this. Dear person on the other side, I want you to know right now, I'm like this close from losing my cookies. So I'm really not going to scream at you right now, even though I really want to. I'm going to run away. I'm going to go walk over there. Please don't follow me. Please don't chase me. I got to cool down before I can go any further because I'm a hothead. It's having some sort of awareness that you can share with somebody else that is giving them the warning signals not to push up against you. And so you get to be yourself and yet still be mindful of the other person's feelings so that you can be productive. It's really not about them. That's what I'm saying. Hey, Pip Puffy. Pip Puffy. I don't even know how to say that. It's like trophy, but brophy. Pip Brophy. Welcome to the room. Good to see you. So, Aries, never give up your fire. Fire is life in this game. Remember that? Thank you, Jeff Probst. And I think that now it's about mastering how to use your fire, becoming a real craftsman with your trade. So that's it for this week. I believe when we, Mars is going to enter Aries in 2 days. So we're going to start to feel that fire cooking up. Everybody have a lovely week. I'll be back. I believe that it's going to be on the Gemini new moon. So I'm excited about that. We'll talk more about that. And you guys hit the notification button. I'm going to produce a video on the 12 universal laws. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm still working on the second webinar for the soul's contract thing. I've kind of put that a little bit on the back burner during this construction and retrograde. So keep abreast of that. And I was doing the word vibration and the brave hearts. I'd love to know if you guys are responding to those, and I'll continue doing those as well. So take care. I will take suggestions if you guys want to pick a topic to talk about that everybody can benefit from. Again, if you want to book a personal reading, you can with me. My information is below. But if you have something that would be of benefit for everybody, I'm happy to address that topic as well. So, all right, guys. Have a great week. It's me. Peace out. See you later.